Hi, welcome to Brady's Blunders, where I show you the mistakes in my games, hoping you don't make the same ones in yours. And today I want to talk about a proverb, I never get that right. Anyway, it's a really famous one that is inevitably true. And it's, if you want a sure win against Brady, start a co in Byo-Yomi. Okay, not a real proverb, but I'm probably not the only one who feels that way, that I just don't play co well enough, and sometimes I find it frustrating. And this game was a perfect example of that. And I wanted to go through it, sort of move by move, and let you know what I was thinking and where I went wrong. And hopefully I'm not the only one who can learn from this tragedy. Okay. This is the same game that I started in the last video, where black took all four corners and I started to control the center. And you can see that it has continued. Here I am completely dominating the center. Black has all four corners. He invaded, but had to live very, very small with this tiny little group. And the game is actually quite good for white. So with black's most recent move here, he's offering a ko. So if I play somewhere else, he can play here and the ko is on. So the question is, now as white, where would you play? And I think I've got 4 questions in this video, so this will be the only time, I think, that I recommend pausing, but for the rest of the times I ask a question, feel free to pause and think about it. Okay. So, I played here, which was actually a good move. It was proper, and let me explain why. If black offers a ko, and I think, I don't want a ko, I'm terrible at ko, and I want to avoid it, maybe I could play a move like this, make it so that it's not meaningful. If black plays here, I can just connect, and black can no longer win the ko. But this would be far too passive. And I don't know what the continuation would be, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's something like this, and black just starts marching into what could have been my territory. And with black owning all 4 corners and greatly reducing the center, I'm not going to have enough. And this would be a really good way to lose. So no, you can't chicken out of ko's. Maybe some ko's, but not this ko. And maybe capturing would be another option, and it would certainly be better than the wimping out. And actually in this game it might work because there's some magic at the top. But it's not necessary at this time because black couldn't win the ko in a single move the way it was before. So I actually had some time to do something. And that's why my move was actually good. Because black can't capture the ko in a single move, my making the ko even bigger is good, right? Now I'm telling black I'm going to eat these 2 stones as well. And look at my 50 to 60 point center. It's huge. So this move was actually good. So black responded by creating an actual ko. And now if he gets to capture here, it's huge. I'm going to use that word huge a lot in this video, I suspect. So when he played that, I captured back, and the ko was on. So black played here. And rather than making a question on it, I'll go ahead and say I connected. And this wasn't entirely necessary. If I had captured the ko and black had cut here, what I was worried about is after I connect, am I going to be able to live with this group? And I'm deep into Byo-Yomi, and I didn't have time to figure out a short continuation. And I didn't want to wager the whole game on that. And it turns out, yeah, white's pretty safe. And because of that magic I talked about at the top, which we'll come back to later, this probably would still be a winning formula. But because it wasn't a sure thing, and I knew I had one more huge ko threat, I answered. So then black played here. And and then I played here. And the point of this is if black tanukis, if black captures over here, then if white plays in here, these are all dead, and that's like a 40-point kill. And 40-point threats are pretty hard to ignore. So black didn't. And I took the ko again. And then black played here. And this is the second game problem. If you were black, or if you were white, where would you play now? And more importantly, why would you play the way that you play? Okay. First, I'll show you what I did, and I'll explain why. And I played here. And this isn't the losing move, but it's probably not best. And my reasoning behind this move sort of explains why. And when black played this move, I thought, oh crap, I don't know how to win this ko now, because if black wins the ko and captures his way out, it's huge, right? He's going to kill these stones and greatly reduce the center. So that would be terrible. But now black is threatening to creep in along the outside, right? If I ignore this move, I figure it's good for at least 20 points for black. And so the way I was looking at it is I was damned if I do, damned if I didn't. And one way black was going to get a lot of points by capturing in the center, and the other way black was going to get 20 points over here. So where's my profit in this ko? Where did I go wrong? How did I allow this ko? I was quite frustrated when black played this because I didn't know what to do. I felt like, where did I go wrong before? That I created a situation that no matter what I do, I'm going to lose at least 20 points. And I actually went so far as thinking, oh my goodness, this is a flower ko for black, right? This is just easy for him. And so for those of you who don't know, flower ko is short for flower viewing ko, and flower viewing ko is a direct translation of, I think it's hanami ko, which is Japanese, again, for flower viewing. And if you want to think of a more accurate English translation, that would be picnic. And the idea is, I was thinking that no matter what happened for black, this ko is a picnic. He's just happy. He captures up here, he's happy. He marches into my center this way, he's happy. He's on a picnic, whereas I have everything to worry about. And there are a lot of cases of picnic kos or flower kos in Go. My mistake was thinking that this was one of them, because it's not. And the reality is, this is an all or nothing ko. I don't know that there's a term for that, but whoever wins this ko is going to win the game. And I just needed to see that. And if I ignore this ko, this threat, and capture the ko, sure, black can do some damage by marching in. And I've already mentioned again that there's magic up along the top, but let's ignore that. Let's say I don't see it, which I don't, or didn't, and I couldn't find it. If white just plays this way, protecting the most territory that he can, what's the situation on the board? And it looks like these stones are in danger of getting cut off, but they're really not, because they've got two directions along the top that they can connect out, and then they can also connect to this group underneath. So there's not much danger. I'm not going to make any points here, but neither is black. So that's not a problem. And then when you look at it that way, you realize that black has 4 smallish corners, which aren't very many points. This group here, which is only 2, but white in the center has, 50, 60 points, more than enough to win. And white has a comfortable victory. So what that means is I was looking at the ko all wrong. And so let me just go back real quick. And when I saw this as a picnic ko, because if I capture, black gets to ruin 20 points, sure, that's absolutely true. But that's not what's important. What's important is that he ruins 20 points, but I get the game. And this is the correct way to look at this ko, is and almost all kos, is that it's not right. It's called a ko fight, and I think it's the word fight that makes me think of it as being akin to other fights in Go, where if I cut and I extend and then Hane, I can capture this group and win the fight. And I think in my mind, I kind of think of co-fights as being like that. But instead, if it was called a co-trade, it might make more sense and easier to think about, because that's the nature of a co-fight. It's if I capture the co and my opponent gets to follow through on his threat, here's what I get and here's what he gets. Let's evaluate the board. Okay. And if I answer his threat and make a threat of my own and he captures the co, what do I get? What does he get? And let's evaluate the position on the board. And so long as the combination of those aren't a winning formula for you, I guess you have to keep playing the co. But as soon as you reach a point where it's, okay, he gets 20 points, but I get a 60-point center, then it makes it a lot easier to go, well, then I don't need those 20 points. I get a 60-point center, but more importantly, I get a one game. I've got, I'm ahead by quite a lot in the game with this situation. And so don't think of it as a 20-point loss like I thought about it. Think about it as winning the game. Think about it as a trade instead of straight up points loss. And it's not a fight, it's a trade. Okay. And I think that's the big point, at least for me, as I review this game, is just better understanding the nature of co. Okay, so let me back up to the actual game, where I didn't capture and instead I played here. Like I said, this is not the losing move, and might even be playable. All right, so I played here, and then black captured. And the question now is, what co-threat would you play as white? Okay, my answer for this was terrible, awful, Byoyomi answer. And I played here. And this is terrible for two reasons. The first one, all right, so I played it to threaten the corner, right? The life of black's corner. So the first reason it's just awful is it doesn't even work. I actually lose the fight. And the game is over from there. But even if it worked, and this is the more important reason it's bad, even if it worked and this combination here killed the black corner, it doesn't matter, because this co was worth way more than 20 points. He's wiping out a 50, 60-point center, and all I'm getting out of it is a little 20-point corner. So in many situations, a 20-point co-threat is big, but not in this situation. This is a game-deciding co. And sure, maybe a 40-point co-threat like I played here was enough to get him to reply, but a puny little 20-pointer? No. Game is still over this way. Black's got the 3 of the corners and is now dominating the center, which used to be mine. I don't have nearly enough, even if I can kill the corner, which I couldn't. Okay, so that was awful. Let's go back. Did I have a better co-threat? And the answer is yeah. There's no more 40-point co-threats on the board. Even if I play something like this, sure, maybe I can capture the corner, but again, that's more in the 20-point range, right? And I'm not going to get 3 moves. I'm going to get 2 moves in a row and be able to capture the corner, but I'm not going to get 3 moves in a row and capture this. So not big enough. And it turns out that the correct answer is a local co-threat. So it may not be by points as big as this, but what a local co-threat does is it says to black, again, you can't win the co in a single move. So this move is almost the equivalent of that move, right? I'm going to play something and make you play another move to try to continue the co, right? But when he plays this, then I can go ahead and take the co again. So let's say black plays here as a co-threat again, and again he's trying to push into my center, and I reply, and black captures. Then again I have a local co-threat. So black needs to come here, and then I can recapture. So In my Byo-Yomi blindness, I missed the fact that there was local threats, and I actually could carry on the ko fight a bit longer. And although my shape looks more solid than it did in the variation I showed earlier, I still think I should have just ended the ko earlier. There's no reason for me to keep playing all these threats when I can just effectively end the game. Okay, let's go back for a minute. And let's say I end the ko, and I just want to hit the magic that I talked about earlier. And white comes here, let's say black comes here, and the question is, what can white do against the top? That's, well, devastating. And for those of you who don't want a hint, go ahead and pause now, but for the rest of you, I'll give you a hint. Okay, we've talked before that when a group has no outside liberties, it's vulnerable. And you can look here, and this group has no outside liberties at all. That's vulnerable. And this has no outside liberties at all. So that's vulnerable. So if you were white, how would you exploit it? Honestly, if I was playing this game in Byo-Yomi, I would probably I would look at this as being it's too large a group to do much damage against. And I would probably just play, some sort of forcing moves and let black live, somewhat comfortably. And I would feel good that I'd managed to reduce it. But it turns out that's not the best approach. And this move might be okay, but white can actually start here. And this asks questions of black. This is eye stealing, right? And it also threatens to cut all over black, and black lacks liberties, so it's a real problem. If black plays something like this and says, I'm going to protect both cutting points, right, then white can threaten one of them again and just connect out. And it's an easy connection. Black can't play here because it's self-Atari, so black dies. Pretty cool. Maybe black can play like this, but then white can play here, threatening this cutting point, and connect out. Pretty brutal. What if black tries to connect under this way? Well, then this is a pretty quick decision. I can just cut right here, black saves that, and then I can cut these off. And again, black dies. So it's really tough for black to find something that works. And maybe the best answer is here. But even with that, I still get this sente move against the corner, and then can connect back. So you can see this just creates all kinds of problems and annoyances for black. Okay. So what did I learn in the making of this video? All right, this move is important. If your opponent can't win the ko right away, you can consider making the ko bigger. And that's exactly what this did. It said, this move says, if I win the ko, I'm going to easily win the game because I'm even capturing these two stones. So I'm going to have way too much territory if I win the ko. So that was good. You may want to consider wimping out on a ko, but it's often going to be wrong. I don't want to say it's usually wrong or always wrong, but in this case, certainly, it would be wrong. And then the next key thing is understanding the true nature of ko. I looked at this as damned if I do, damned if I don't. One way I'm giving up 30, 40, 50 points if he captures in the middle, and the other way I'm losing 20 points here. Either way, it's a lose-lose, so it's a flower ko for my opponent, and that was exactly the wrong way to think about it. And this ko is so big that his gaining 20 points, because I ignore a ko threat, is almost immaterial. 20 points is tiny compared to the value of that ko. And not just because there's magic against it, but just because I get straight up enough cash. If I play here and he moves out and I just say, that's fine, that's enough, it actually is enough. White wins easily. Doesn't need the magic along the top. And that's the biggest learning from this video, at least for me. And also remember local code threads. That would have been nice too. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.